Member for Koowangbah.
Thanks, Acting Speaker. I rise to also speak on the appropriation bills. Sadly, this is the first time since my election to the Queensland Parliament I'm not standing here to speak in support of a good, strong state Labor budget. But what else is sad, Speaker, is that this is a budget that cuts billions from congestion-busting projects, blows away cost of living support measures like energy rebates and a break on rego. It's a budget that won't solve the shortage of social and affordable housing, spending up to 4 times more to help people buy new homes than the support committed for people sleeping rough or families living in cars. It's a budget that doesn't plan for frontline growth, with a $1 billion black hole when it comes to well-deserved wage increases for our police service, nurses and teachers, professions vital to the good health and order of our state. Sadly, this LNP budget will make it harder for Queenslanders to get around and get ahead. I've so many questions about this budget. Firstly, why did he really remove dollar figures and timeframes in their new version of Q-Trip? Certainly, that's a way to avoid a comparison with what we did in government, and what a great way to avoid showing budget blowouts or time delays. Every project can appear on time and on budget when there's no scrutiny. My next question is, who signed off on the advertising budget? That's right, advertising. That was a dirty word before the election, but who signed off on the government funds to turn Queensland blue and trumpet LNP messages in every major news outlet and TV station in Queensland? I wonder if the same person approved the money for the hospital rescue plan ads that I've seen, and how much the LNP spent handing in our homework again and branding it as theirs. Stopping work on hospital projects right across the state, then restarting them, minus any union workers, of course, under a rescue plan. What a disingenuous ploy from this new LNP government. It's just another example of the hypocrisy and complete lack of transparency becoming the trademark of those opposite. We've seen it in the planning bill this week, and it's evident in the budget. I wonder if that's why we didn't debate the education bill on the notice paper before the rushed planning bill, because it'd be a bit rich for the government to stand in here and claim to be heroes for our state schools when our hard-working Queensland teachers, the real school heroes, can't get the pay rise they deserve. The hypocrisy on housing is deplorable, Speaker. Since they took government, we've heard so much from the LNP about how they'll solve the housing crisis. There's been no supply chain blockages and high 44 deadline to see 1 million new homes built. The LNP is somehow going to ensure an average of 137 homes are built per day. And the way they've kicked things off in this budget, the way they plan to solve the housing crisis, spending up to $300 million, helping up to 1,000 home buyers to get a house worth up to $1 million each, versus an investment in social housing. Speaker, across my region of Moreton Bay, wait for it, investment in social housing of $70 million. That investment will deliver, get underway, 256 social homes. If all those 256 homes are built by mid-next year, Speaker, and if they aren't the same ones that Labor got underway already when we were in government, then there's still only 1 home for every 2,000 people who live in Moreton Bay. I reckon more than that are doing it tough. And I reckon the Mayor of Moreton Bay has probably told the government that as well. Now, I'm all for giving first home buyers a leg up. I think first home owner grants are great. That's why Labor increased Queensland's grant to be equal largest in the nation. So I'm pleased the LNP's kept our higher grant, but I question the humanity of spending 4 times more on making property millionaires than support for our vulnerable. And that's without examining the value of stamp duty tax breaks without any income thresholds at all. Back to Q-Trip, Acting Speaker. And we know the LNP like to take things out of Q-Trip. Not only are the plans Labor had for the Bruce Highway now completely ambiguous, including whether there's an upgrade of Morayfield and Ullman Road out my way, whether that'll still go ahead. There's local projects in my electorate that seem to have disappeared altogether. I remember, yeah, I'll take that interjection from the member of the Pine Roofs, yeah. I remember last time when the LNP were in government, they removed the Burpengary Deception Bay, New Settlement Road, Deception Bay Road interchange, which we've managed to build and get done while we were back in, and thank goodness we did, but I wonder about these other roads, we really need them. What about the funding for more car parks at Narangba train station? In the last Labor state budget, we had $6 million for this included in a line item for park and rides. In his answer to my question I noticed on the 18th of February this year, the Transport Minister said, the Christopher government is committed to delivering the park and ride expansion at Narangba train station. Commitment is on display via the commitment to provide an additional $6 million on top of the existing planning funding. So I say to the Transport Minister, show me the money. Where is it? I can't find it. I don't know, it better happen. It was also an election commitment from the LNP. $6 million that I already had. Labor's also committed funds, we had committed funds for a business case on parking at Burpengary train station. An issue I know is very close to the heart of not only many members of our community in Burpengary, but the member for Glasshouse and his family is also very keen and interested in that one. If this money had been spent as intended, what's the outcome? Burpengary Station is closest to the huge new development in Kinmar Valley, and so many people will be wanting to use that station. We'll only get one go at shaping local commuter behaviour. 50-cent fares are brilliant, that's why we introduced them. But they become irrelevant if you can't get a park at the station. I'm pleased to see Burpengary Jets Rugby League benefit from the Grassroots Sports Infrastructure Program. They're a great local club. However, I'm disappointed there's no funding to upgrade the Harris Avenue Sports Precinct in Narangba, which would have benefited both Narangba Eagles Soccer Club and the Narangba Demons Baseball Club. Even the federal LNP member recognised the benefit of this project and matched State Labor's commitment at his election in May. Hopefully this upgrade to be delivered in partnership with Council can be considered in the next round of sports clubs funding, along with an upgrade of the Findlay Street sports fields in Burpengary, home to the mighty Narangba Crows AFL club, cricket and netball teams, and used as an overflow space for the Burpengary Jets Rugby League. The cynic in me thinks this new Games On infrastructure funding is just a cover for LNP election commitments, but hopefully I'll be proved wrong. I also noticed a claim of building a new Petrie substation in the Moreton Bay highlights. This isn't new. It's been there for a while, and no, it's certainly not new. Handing in our homework once again. Also in these highlights, and I noted the member for Pine Rivers in her contribution, talking about a new special school for Moreton Bay South. I echo her sentiments. I'm wondering where it's meant to be. Surely, because the dot on the map is right where the existing special school is. You can't build it on top of it. So I'm sure the member for Pine Rivers could find another spot, because we would really appreciate another special school, but don't knock down the one that's there.
10 years.
Yeah. Yeah. 10 years, yes.
Yeah, order, members.
Every year that school's had work done, but putting a school on top of an existing one isn't very smart, whoever the member over there is. Yeah, you show me how it can be done, and I'll congratulate you. Anyway, that school does a fantastic job for families in our region, and we really appreciate it, but we don't want it knocked down. I'm looking forward to chatting with my local schools to see what's in the budget for them, because of course it doesn't seem to be transparent in the budget papers. I hope the Education Ministers listened to the Narangba State School community's concerns about student safety and funded the rest of the security fence that Labor started. I note the Minister visited the school recently to open a building we funded and built. I would have liked to have joined him there to celebrate the new building and talk about the fencing, but my invitation must have got lost in the mail. Didn't seem to get it, yeah. Finally, Acting Speaker, I look forward to finding out whether bus services have been funded through the School Transport Infrastructure Program to get Narangba Valley State High School students home on Wednesday afternoons. There's a petition to secure these services on my website, shaneking.net.au, and I want to thank all locals who signed it so far. The high school community as well for their continued advocacy, Kangaroo Bus Lines for coming up with plan after plan to effect the new services at minimal cost to the budget. I'm sure the Transport Minister's sick of me writing to him about this issue, and hopefully it's resolved in this budget. This government got elected talking about youth crime and how bad it is, and it is. We've got 2,000 kids who descend on a shopping centre every Wednesday afternoon because there's no bus to take them home, because we need the buses there earlier. That's what we need. These kids are good kids, but that many kids together cause trouble. We're going to end up with some youth criminals. This started about a year ago, whoever that, I won't say clown person is opposite, don't know about it. Anyway, hopefully it's resolved in this budget. We'd all be very happy then, including the 2,000 kids and the Narangba community. But sadly, Speaker, it seems this first LNP state budget is built on many broken promises, endorsed by an LNP Premier who said, when I say something, it means something. The same LNP Premier who said energy bills would be cheaper, debt would be lower, there'd be no new stadiums, heavy rail would be delivered all the way to Maroochydore by 2032, No ifs, no buts, or shortcuts. Queenslanders were promised a government with integrity, a government who would be open and transparent. Instead, we've got a government whose highest priority is turning the maroon state blue. I really hope, Speaker, the Deputy Premier's love of the monarchy and all things royal and regal is stronger than the LNP's love of political stunts, as we have a red chamber next door, and I'd hate to come here one day and find out that's turned blue as well. I wouldn't be surprised, though.
He loves the king.
Speaker, I love the king. Speaker, this is a government whose budget backs away from pay rises for our frontline heroes who held the line so bravely for us during the pandemic, our teachers and nurses. Now they're ignored. They're backing away from families who need social housing, backing away from project timeframes and transparency in the budget papers, and backing away from cost of living relief. Well, Speaker, it wouldn't surprise me if there were people this week backing away from the LNP and wishing they could literally get their money back. The fresh start promised by this government is already looking stale.
Member, you used some unparliamentary.
Withdraw.
Thank you. I call the member.